Dzień dobry. So, tonight, I'm in a reflective mood. It's been 10 months, but feels like longer, since I was able to get back to the UK. And it got me thinking, what do I really miss about the UK? What is it that I'm kind of missing out on by sort of being stuck here in Poland at the moment? And I have to admit, it was difficult because I really love living here, and I am having a good time here. Even with COVID and everything like that, I'm still, able to be at least a little bit sociable. I'm able to kind of get out. I mean, yeah, everything's closed pretty much, like most places now. But anyway, and I often talk about how I prefer Poland to the UK, and I kind of thought, okay, so let's turn it on its head a bit and think, what is it that I'm missing? Okay, we'll start with the most important thing, which is, of course, my family. I have, my loving parents back home, but I was very lucky to have them, throughout my life. They've been very supportive, and they've always looked out for me, and they've always encouraged me, and they've always, tried to kind of push me to do my best without being too pushy. And what can I say? I really love my parents, and I catch up with them, at least once a week by Skype, just to check in, even when there's not really a lot for us to talk about in terms of what we've been up to, as I think many people can associate with right now. But certainly, the house I grew up in, that they're still living in, back in Oxford, and it's lovely. It's not like a massive house or super fancy or anything like that, but the location is nice. It's right on the outskirts of town. There is some woodland nearby, a lovely garden, and this is another thing. I mean, this isn't exclusive to being in Poland, but I do miss having access to a garden. Admittedly, I'm brilliant at killing houseplants, but I have successfully grown my own vegetables and things in the past, and this is something I would do here if I had a little bit more than a balcony in the shade right now. But it also leads on to nature in a way. So Poland, of course, big country, lots of forests, lots of nature here. But living here in Warsaw, you're not really exposed to that so much. So what do you see? You see pigeons, you see crows, maybe some blue tits if you're lucky, and sparrows. And that's about it for the wildlife in Warsaw itself. You may occasionally see a fox. I've seen them like twice in my time here. And that's about it. And of course, because Warsaw is a very concrete city, so unless you go to the parks, you don't really see many trees and plants and things. But this is certainly something that Oxford has an advantage on. It's a very beautiful place to live, and there's a lot of nature surrounding it if you're inclined to explore. I also have to, of course, mention my brother. Me and him, we always got along pretty much, which is, some people will find unusual with siblings, but no, when we were quite young, I suppose we got into a few scraps, but nothing serious. And sadly, he not only we're like 1,000 miles apart, but even when I go back to the UK, he's living up in Newcastle with his family, his lovely wife, and my wonderful niece, who is so full of energy. Makes me wonder if I was anything like that at that age. So it's difficult because I mean, one thing I always try to do with the family is like coordinate. So, if I go back to the UK, maybe we'll go up to them or they'll come down, to see us. But that's like an added difficulty. But yeah, certainly I do miss being able to kind of, be close with my niece and to see her grow up. So, yeah, I wish there was more I could do. To be honest, hopefully when I get back to the UK, I'll be able to see them. So, okay, so that's a start. So what else? Well, of course, I have some good friends back home. As you may have seen from my video, I've got my friend Matty, who's come to visit here a couple of times. But, I also have his brother Andy. I've got, sort of lots of people that, admittedly, everyone's kind of gone their own way in life, because you get to a certain age and you move away or you start a family, get married, that kind of thing. Other priorities take over. But if I went back to say I went back for a weekend in Oxford, I could probably muster up 5 or 6 people to enjoy a pint with, if the pubs were open. But yeah, it's a shame actually. I've lost touch with a lot of people. In uni, I had a lot of good friends, but I don't know. I think I scared a lot of them away when I used to campaign for Brexit. Kind of regretting that now. Well. It's kind of karma in a way that I get sort of taken for a ride on that one. Okay, so friendship. What else do I miss? Well, for certain, even though I love Polish food, and the shops here have a very good selection as well, and really not really limited on ingredients, I do miss certain parts of kind of English cuisine. Now, people might scoff at that because, well, let's be honest, English food is not the most highly regarded food out there. But there are a few little bits that I really enjoy. Now, I have never found anyone in Poland that agrees with me on this, but English sausages are something different. They have a lot more flavour, a lot more depth, a lot more variety than Polish sausages. But I'm not going to start an argument here. So even though I have been able to find kind of sausage roll type things, they're more like the Frank type, sausages, which it's okay, but it's not the same as a good, proper, old-fashioned English sausage roll. And there are little things like dry roasted peanuts, for example. You can't get them here. And I love these things. Okay. As you can see, maybe I like to snack a bit too much when I'm in the UK. So it's definitely an advantage for my health living in this country because I am eating more healthily. There are things like, there are some things I can get. So, for example, there's a shop in Arcadia, and I think there are a few throughout Warsaw that sell kind of foreign food. It's weird to be here and think of English food as foreign food, but this is how it is. So, like, I can get Marmite there. Yeah, I'm one of those people that like Marmite. I know a lot of people don't, and it's sad because I think it's a wonderful little thing. Like technically I can get like custard powder, I can get like and all kinds of golden syrups, treacles, lots of food that would be standard in the UK. Though, even though I know people have found them here, getting hold of salt and vinegar crisps is a nightmare. I have to admit, I overindulged in those way too much. When I was in the UK, I was pretty much addicted. I could munch through pack after pack of salt and vinegar. But nobody in Poland really liked them. I've met like one person in Poland who seems to like them. And I brought some back from the UK for people to try, and people were like, ugh, what the heck is that? They tend to, more often than not, have like paprika flavoured, stuff out here, which is quite unusual. And like in the Chinese restaurants that I've been to, I've only found one, which is like a proper authentic Chinese, that serves egg fried rice. And again, this is something, okay, it's probably quite easy to make. I need to actually try it sometime. But again, it's one of those things. Yeah, I don't think I've actually said anything healthy on my list, have I? There's probably something to that. And finally, in the food section, I'm going to talk about pies. Because England does some wonderful pies. You know, many kind of restaurants, many pubs. And they do like steak and kidney, and chicken and mushroom, and far more, you know, far more wonderful things. And pies aren't really a thing here. You know, you sort of say, oh, you know, why don't you have pies? And then they say, yeah, we have pies, we have this. And then it's like, it's not a pie. Yeah, it's quite funny. Oh, and sorry. And last thing, chocolate. So, English chocolate, of course, we have Cadbury's. There's companies like that, even though they're European owned now, but still. There is a much wider variety of chocolate, I would say, in the UK, especially when it comes to chocolate bars. They do love chocolate here in Poland. There are a lot of different chocolate products you can buy. But you don't really get like the Easter eggs at Easter either. You know, this is again maybe a British thing, I'm not sure. But yeah, I have to admit, I think back to some of when I went back home, I would always bring a wide selection of English chocolate back just to see people's experiences with that. Okay, so there are also things that they do have here which I don't really have proper access to because of my language difficulties. So, for example, you know, I can go to the cinema here. You know, they will have films in English with Polish subtitles, so that's one thing. But I can't really go to the theatre. At least so far, I haven't been able to find a play in English. And I have a bit of a theatrical background, and you know, so I do enjoy the theatre. But no, that's one of these little things I've had to kind of sacrifice living here. At least, I'll give it 10 years when I can speak Polish. Maybe Corona will be over by then, and I'll be able to enjoy these things. And likewise with like sports clubs. You know, I used to play badminton when I was in the UK. And I did have a brief period here where I was able to do that with like an English speaking group. There was like an expat thing, but Corona killed that as well. So it's a little bit harder to kind of integrate into like sporting and cultural activities here, being a foreigner. So yeah, that's definitely, you know, something that I have trouble accessing. Of course, if you have the right friends, you can do these things, but yeah, haven't quite found that. Okay, so there are certain other things like shopping, for example. Okay, so you know, there are certain brands that I quite like in the UK that of course aren't available here. For example, I like to buy clothing for Next. I don't know why, but I've just found that their clothing is a good fit for me. Their jeans are quite, you know, inexpensive and good quality. So yeah, mainly I end up in places like Zara here or H&M and stuff. And it's Zara I always think is a bit too fancy. H&M is like, I don't know, maybe the quality isn't perfect. So I am missing that kind of perfect clothing retailer. And a lot of the sort of the clothing shops I've found here, I'd say aren't quite my style. There's nothing to say there's anything wrong with it, but a lot of the stuff, it just seems a bit too casual for me. And I like to be kind of semi-casual. Okay, so, and like, you know, buying books in English is of course a bit of a challenge here. You find certain things, so like in MPIC, sometimes they'll have like an English section, but then, you know, you're limited to like a couple of shelves, and most of the time they focus on like, you know, fiction books and like the best sellers, and I'm not really interested in that. Normally I'd prefer to find a good, maybe history book or psychology book or philosophy or something like that. So it's not as easy. And to use Amazon here, Currently, you have to go through the German site. So that's not ideal. But I did read an article today saying that Amazon is coming to Poland properly. So they're going to have a proper Polish website. And so I'm looking forward to that, because maybe we'll actually get prices in zloty. And, maybe that will improve delivery times and things like that. So, when that goes live, I'm probably going to indulge in that a little bit. And, okay, so there's another important part of English culture which hasn't quite been replicated here, and that's the pub scene. So, no, of course, you have bars. You can go out and drink. Well, when you can. The last thing I heard, bars might not be open until May. May! Oh my God. I don't know how I'll survive. I'll save a lot of money. But the English pub is something different. A lot of them are very old, very traditional. They have a feel and like a warmth to them. And I don't know, it's very hard to put into words, but I do miss just that experience of just going to a nice quiet pub with some friends. So, of course, I can go to bars here, but it's not quiet so much. There are a few places dotted around, but totally, I miss that. And things like pub quizzes. I always used to love pub quizzes. I started doing them probably when I was sort of 17, 18, back in Oxford. I did them a lot at uni, and then, it was one of the things that kind of really brought me and my friends together back in the UK. It was always that thing to do every week. So we'd have that regular contact. And I have been able to do a few quizzes here, but again, they were organised by this expat group, which from what I can tell is pretty much dead. I don't know if they're coming back. It's really sad. Maybe in the future. I'm certainly not going to try and start one up myself. It's too much work. But that's it. But leading on from pubs, we'll talk about alcohol. So the fact that the UK is undergoing like a gin boon at the moment is a bit painful for me, because you can buy gin in Poland, but it's not as commonly available. You don't really have flavoured gin. I think I found one with lime the other day, which is nice, but of course the UK is the world leader on gin. And even when you do buy it here, it's expensive compared to vodka, for example. Vodka is like dirt cheap, and you'd be paying like that much for gin. So, because it's like an imported product. I think there is some Polish gin, but even then it doesn't seem cheap. And when I was back in the UK last time, one thing I discovered was coffee tequila. And oh my God, I love that so much. And I've never seen it here. So getting hold of some premium spirits and things like that is, another thing. Okay, so the last thing on my list is so you have a lot of beautiful women in Poland, of course, but let's be honest, you don't get a lot of redheads here, and I have to admit I do miss that. Of course you get ones with dyed hair and stuff, but I never think that's really the same. But I guess it's more blondes really primarily out here. I do miss that. But I think that's a pretty fair list. I tried asking a friend of mine who lived in the UK for a while. He said he'd get back to me, but the first thing that popped into his head was Percy Pigs from Marks and Spencer's. So definitely some of the chains like Marks and Spencer's. They were in Poland briefly. I don't know what kind of ranges they sold, but I do miss companies like that as well. I hope you've enjoyed my little kind of ramble about what I miss about the UK. I could also say something about government, but I don't think I want to. Every time I talk about government, somebody gets upset, and I don't want more angry comments in my section, so I'll play it safe for now. Again, thank you for watching. Admittedly, maybe learned more about, I don't know, you probably learned a little bit about Poland in this episode, but I hope it gave you a bit of insight. Uh, and I hope I'll stop being lazy and actually get more videos churned out, because I have to be honest, yeah, I am slacking a bit. But again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like. And if you would like to see more of my content or follow my journey here, please subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. Heaven forbid. Okay, so thank you very much. Take care, and I shall see you soon.